All cowards die, my brotherhood's weapon. Real niggas rise in the line in the fire, no fiction to survive. I tell no lie, we trouble all rise, we tell across the line, we won't wait till I die. I love compromise, loyalty over the sign, that's how we live our lives, we're raising man high. When we ride, real niggas who can hate it in the eye, all cowards die, my brotherhood's a weapon. Real niggas rise in the line in the fire, no fiction to survive. I tell no lie, we're trouble all rise, we tell across the line, we won't wait till I die. I love compromise, loyalty over the sign, that's how we live our lives, we're raising man. No cowards, how we roll. Let's keep it deaf in this hole. Rose out of concrete, red furnace of affliction, hit five my feet. Street this cyber with the dead when I speak, break bread when I eat. The mics bow down and I beat cause we royalty, huh? Niggas walking so nobly, on over this loyalty. Ain't no control, no be in solidarity. Stand on integrity as a singularity. Give them niggas a reprisal. We the biggest, do it down, it's like about survival. Born in the mud, 10 toes called Geico. Crashing the niggas on the block trying to cycle. No cowards hit your neck if I people on the private. Put a mic in the psycho like Michael, Archangel, cutting lifelines, bring a strong code for the feeling title. You boys on the original recycle, so trifle. We tight like a beach in the game of the Nile, like paper, eating mice written in the Bible. We on the scene looking live, ho. This ain't no revival, but we revive those. Broken looking for a reprisal. Together we'll break this carnal cycle. We don't bang no rival, gang nigga, this is tribal. 12 families under one banner, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, this the arrival. All cowards die, my brotherhood's a weapon. Real niggas rise in line in the pile, and fiction will survive. I tell no lie, we trouble all rise, we tell across the line, we won't wait till I die. I love compromise, loyalty over the sign, that's how we live our lives, we're raising man high. When we ride, real niggas who can hate it in the eye, all cowards die, my brotherhood's a weapon. Real niggas rise in line in the pile, and fiction will survive. I tell no lie, we trouble all rise, we tell across the line, we won't wait till I die. I never compromise, loyalty over the sign, that's how we live our lives, we're raising man high. When we ride, real niggas who can hate it in the eye.
Shalom, Israel with the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. Today is the Sunday scripture breakdown class. Type in any questions you have. We'll get to them and answer them. Anybody in the class have any questions? We're going to get straight to the topic. If so, let's get them out the way. Go ahead.
I had a question. I had a question about Genesis chapter 4, verse 1.
All right.
To see if it related to Revelation chapter 12. And it says, this is the book of Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So I wanted to see if that child that Eve was referring to could be a precept or a correlation with the child that's here in the book of Revelations chapter 12, verse 2.
All right, go ahead and read it.
The book of Revelations chapter 12, verse 2. And she began with Salaki, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. So I just wanted to see.
That's the one in Revelations?
And we go to 5.
Okay, go ahead.
Book of Revelations chapter 12, verse 5. And she brought forth a man child, whom was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto the power and to his throne. Right. So I just wanted to see if Eve considered that this would be the child that would be able to reconcile.
Read the scripture with Eve that you talked about with Eve.
It's the book of Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife. She conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord.
So what's the question?
Is this, could Eve could have considered that the child that she was conceived with be the child to reconcile her and Adam back in right standing with the Most High?
Okay, that's not what they're saying at all. This when Eve had her child, she said, "I got a man child from the Lord," because this was the first child that she ever had.
Right.
And they were in the truth. They were walking in righteousness because of what the Most High gave them, which was they got brought out of the dust of the ground. So she's just saying, I have a man child from the Most High. In Revelations, it's talking about Christ.
Right.
Because in the next verse you read, it said he's going to rule with a rod of iron, right? Ain't that what it say? So we know for sure that's not talking about Cain. You know what I'm saying? Cain ain't the one that was supposed to rule the earth with a rod of iron. It was never prophesied that that's what that would be. So no, that wouldn't be talking about that. No sweat. Anybody got any more questions? While we in Revelations 12, let's go ahead and start at verse 1. Read what you got.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Verse 2.
Who is this talking about? First of all, when it said that this woman was clothed with the sun and with the moon under her feet, what is that pertaining to? Go ahead.
Wisdom and knowledge, sir.
Wisdom and knowledge. And who is the woman?
Babylon, America, sir.
Go ahead.
The nation of Israel.
The nation of Israel. That's who this is talking about. That was a woman who was clothed with the sun and the moon with wisdom and knowledge. And upon her head, upon this woman's head, she had what?
12 stars.
12 stars. Why does it say 12 stars? Go ahead.
12 nations of Israel.
For the 12 tribes of Israel. Correct. Keep reading.
Verse 2. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
What child is she trying to bring forth? What is she trying to bring forth?
So, like, if I may, the Spirit of Christ.
The Spirit of Christ. And it is hard to bring forth the Spirit of Christ. That's why it's compared to labor, to birth pains. That's what we go through every day, being in the truth. When your family turning their back on you, thinking you're losing your mind, this is not an easy thing to go through. Just like having a baby is not easy. But when you have this baby, it is the most beautiful thing on the earth. It makes you happy. It makes you cry. It's something you look at with so much joy. But while you're pregnant and your feet swell up and you can't see anything past your stomach, you know what I mean? And you're going through all of these pains, you're throwing up, you're doing all this, it's horrible. And that's how bringing this nation is. Bringing this nation forth. Bringing forth the Spirit of Christ is. The earth is made to fight against the Spirit of Christ. Every nation on this earth hates the Spirit of Christ. Do you know why they hate the Spirit of Christ?
Could it be two reasons? Could it be two reasons, sir? The one reason meaning that spirit is only given unto the nation of Israel, and
go ahead.
And that they would have to be servants if that spirit was brought forth.
Servants is closer to the point I'm trying to get to. Go ahead.
I was thinking because it convicts them.
Yes, it does convict them. But if you're thinking about this from the eyes of the other nations, why would you not want the Spirit of Christ in the earth? Go ahead.
Well, I was raising my hand. I had a question, but I can answer it. The reason why you don't want the spirit of Christ in the earth is because it's righteousness.
It's not just righteousness, because the scriptures say when the righteous are in rule, you know, everybody's going to rejoice. So they're not going to be mad when we're in rulership. Not all of them. Some of them will be, but not all of them. What is it? Let me just tell you. Go ahead. Let me let you try.
That's like, if I may, there will be no more wickedness.
No, not that. It's that first of all, it's a masculine spirit,
right,
that don't bend, that you can't waver or wager with.
Right.
We would have an integrity that could not be bought.
Right.
And the scripture said that Christ is going to rule with a rod of iron, meaning whatever he says goes. There's not going to be any voting. There's not going to be any, well, I think we should. No democracy in the kingdom of heaven. So that is why they say that the spirit we have in here is what? Watching the news today, the masculinity we have in here is what type of masculinity? Go ahead.
Toxic.
Toxic. Because it's toxic to be strong and to be a strong man and to actually have your family in order. It's toxic for who? Is it toxic for our household? Will it keep our kids off drugs? Will it keep them out of jail? Will it keep them alive and stop our daughters from being whores and our sons from being homosexual? So who would it be toxic to? The other nations. Because we will be able to be above them and never beneath. We will always be ahead and not the tail. So it's toxic to them. So for us to bring forth this spirit, nobody outside of our nation wants to see that, because it means we're going to be in charge. Go ahead.
I do have a question, sir. So, like, I understand prophecy. I understand what's been foretold, through all the major and minor prophets. You understand? But it's like, in this world, why is it so much rebellion against the right thing? Even wicked niggas know what the right thing is to do. You know what I'm saying? What not necessarily that I'm having trouble with, what's vexing my spirit is, why is it so much like rebellion? Like, if everybody know what it is to do right, you understand?
Baruch 2:30. I'm listening.
Like, when we out there, we out there at camp and we teaching, you understand? We get, Christians that come up all the time, you understand?
Right.
That is going up against what we saying, you know what I'm saying? But like, when I be talking to them, I'm like, but we talking about the Bible.
Right.
What's the problem? Is what I'm saying not in the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, it vexes me why it's so much rebellion against what's right. Like, I'm telling you what's right and you got a problem with it.
Right.
If you can help me understand that, sir.
No sweat. Read what you got.
This is the book of Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people.
Let me tell you what it is about Black Hispanics and Native Americans. We have always been hard-headed. And that is why we're in the condition that we're in. We are in this condition because we are so damn hard-headed. We want to do what we want to do. We don't want to listen to nobody. Life in America is so good to us. Even as we are homeless and on drugs and alcohol and destroyed and getting high and all of that, it's good to us. Do you know why? Because it's what we want to do. It's not, see, the reason we don't like doing what the Lord says do is because we're listening to the Lord and not listening to ourselves.
Right.
That's what makes this so grievous to us, that we have to obey, we have to submit, and we are so stiff-necked and hard-headed that the thought of listening to someone else just grieves us. Keep reading.
But in the land of their captives, they shall remember themselves.
In the what?
Land of their captives, they shall remember themselves.
But in our captivity is the place that we're going to find out and remember who we were and where we come from. Go ahead.
So like if I may have a precept, and a lot of it, the problem is that we listen, these wicked leaders that tell us, if you go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and 28, for therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, this captivity is long. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them.
Give me Ezekiel 3 and 5. And I'm going to show you another precept to help you with this.
Okay.
Let me show you why we're so rebellious.
Ezekiel.
First of all, what is wrong with us saying that the Lord only loves us? If somebody told you that the richest, most powerful man on the earth only wanted to be your friend, what would be wrong with that? Nothing at all. So why is it that the Lord only loves us? Why is that a problem?
Because unfortunately, even in our foolishness, our people trying to be self-righteous and fair. So like if we're favored, you know what I'm saying? Like I answer like this. We give our love to everybody else except for our own people.
That's the easy way to answer it. It's because we don't know who to give our love to. And the reason that we're so destroyed is because we are slaves. We have been trained to think this way. The way that we think, the way we act, we've been trained to view life the way we view it. Read what you got.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 15.
3 and 5.
So like it. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 5. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech.
The Most High didn't send us to people of other nations, of a strange speech. Keep reading.
And of an hard language.
And he didn't send us to people whose tongue we couldn't understand. Read.
But to the house of Israel.
But this is for us. So now we got that out the way. This message, this teaching, this Bible is only for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right.
Keep reading.
Verse 6. Not too many people of a strange speech and of an hard tongue, whose words thou cannot understand.
Read.
Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee.
You see what that's saying? That's saying that if the message would have been for the Jewish man would have followed. If it would have been for the Chinese people would have followed. If this would have been for the Arabs would have followed.
Right.
Keep reading.
Come. Verse 7. But to the house of Israel would not hearken unto thee.
But Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans won't listen. Now, let me put it to you in layman terms. Let me tell you something about this is how we all do. Okay, let's just say, let's use the SHALAM kids for an example.
Right.
Who's the baddest kid in the SHALAM house? Asher. And who does everybody love as soon as he comes through the door? Asher. You know why? Because even though he's bad, we see what he's going to be.
Right.
That's how the Most High look at us. He see how wicked and hard-headed we are, but he know under that is a soldier, is a warrior, is a submissive princess. And that's how the Lord looks at us. He don't want he didn't want the easy way out. If he wanted the easy way out, he just would have gave it to the Chinese. Right. And they would have been listening, and they would have been in the kingdom, and all nations would have been under them. Right. But he had to give it to them hard-headed Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that don't want to listen to nobody, that you got to whoop for thousands and thousands of years. And while they in jail, what they do in jail? What everybody do in jail? Man, when I get out, right, I'm gonna be good. Look, man, when I get out, I ain't gonna do it no more. Right. I'm gonna change my life. I'm gonna marry this girl I've been talking to for 3 years on the phone. I'm gonna marry her. Look, man, I'm going to church every Sunday. Soon as the door open and they see that it's freedom, they do this. I'm gonna just give it a little time. Let me just go out here and see. Let me go see this other girl that I ain't seen, that ain't never called me while I was in jail. Right. Let me go over here and let me just hit the blood a few times because I ain't hit the blood in 10 years. Right. And then all of a sudden, we back in the world. The Lord still loves us in the midst of that. So the reason he gave it to us is because we are the ones he chose. Right. It ain't because of how good we are. It ain't because of nothing else, but that's who he picked to give it to. So that's who's going to get it. Go ahead.
So, in other words, like basically, we got the right spirit, it's just not according to knowledge.
That's exactly what the Bible says. The Bible says we have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they go to church every Sunday. Right. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They go to revivals, they go to musicals, they go to BTU and Sunday school. They go to everything that every program that's at church. 8 o'clock service, 10 o'clock service, 12 o'clock service, 3 o'clock service, and 6 o'clock service. Right. But they're not doing things in the way that the scriptures tell you to do it. They want to serve the Lord, but not according to the knowledge of the Bible. Because following the Bible means they got to listen to somebody. Right. Do you know why they love being Christians? Because you don't have to listen to nobody. You can be what you want to be, believe what you want to believe, because what?
You got a personal relationship.
Because what? Because God don't love you no matter what. Right. God loves you no matter what you do. So if I can smoke weed, rob, steal, kill, and just say, God forgive me, and I'm all good, and that's the God I want to serve. Right. But keep reading.
Verse 7, but the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impotent and hard-hearted.
You see that? If we can't get offended because they don't want to listen to us, because they won't listen to the Most High. Right. We're not saying our own words. Right. We're saying the Lord's words. Right. And they don't want to hear that. Right. So read the next verse. Verse 8. We're going to move on.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 8. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads.
The Lord say, yeah, they mad. Yeah, they hard and tough. But guess what? I'm going to make you meaner, harder, and tougher than them. That's what he said. So that's why we have to go out on the streets and we have to get on the mic and say, the white man is the goddamn devil. That's right. You're going to hell if you're a goddamn homosexual. You're going to be destroyed in this kingdom. You're going to die with the white. That's why we got to talk like that. That's why we can't come to them and be like, hey, everybody, we need to love one another and everybody needs to follow the law. We can't talk like that to our people because our people's faces are strong against ours. Right. Their heads are hard against ours. They're going to fight against us. So we're going to have to be stronger than them and fight harder against them in order for them to listen.
Right. So basically, be as toxic with our masculinity as possible.
That is why they don't want masculinity, because it's toxic against their system. Damn right. Damn right. Full circle. Damn right. All right, let me go back to Revelations.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and beheld a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head.
Now, let me tell you something about the Bible. The Bible is a book of war, and it's about governments. It's about nations. And it's talking about how all of these nations play a part in the wars and the fighting. All through the Bible, what do you hear about in every book and chapter? War. How do you get love out of that? From from Genesis to Revelations, you hear all about war, war, war. If it's not physical, it's spiritual. It's something that's happening in these people's lives that's making them say, you know, I need the Lord, which is a spiritual war, or a physical war that makes them say the Lord needs to be on our side because we got to fight against the Philistines. We got to fight against the Amorites or the Moabites. That is the war that we are seeing in the Bible. So when you read the Bible and it starts to talk about all these things you don't understand that these are the governments of the other nations. These are the armies of the other nation. And these are the people that's going to play into your salvation. When you start seeing these things happen, you're not looking for a red dragon. What is it called? Yeah, a great red dragon. In Christianity, they are looking for a red dragon with crowns to fly around the sky. And then that's when we're going to know that it's the mark of the beast. And we're going to know it's Satan. But that is not what it's talking about. These crowns and this dragon is the coming markers of the other nations. These 7 heads are the 7 heads of the nations that are our enemy. You know what I mean? The 7 heads are Portugal, Italy, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and England. And the 10 horns are Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Denmark, Ireland, Switzerland, Australia, Austria, Scotland, and the USA. This is what the Bible is talking about. Go ahead. Hold on, let the brother ask a question. Go ahead.
So I had a comment.
Go ahead, no sweat.
What you said about Christians thinking that it's a real dragon,
Mm-hmm.
that goes to show you what was said in Isaiah on how to read the Bible, why it's important to go precept upon precept. Because it has to make sense in both places.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, Christians are some stubborn bastards.
Right.
Because in order for them to make that serpent talk, it be a talking snake, they gotta say that the dragon is real. And they ain't gonna say the dragon is real, just so they're not wrong in Genesis.
Right. And because if they're wrong in Genesis, then they're wrong in Revelation.
Right.
So they can't be wrong nowhere. So they have to hold on to the lie to keep the lie going. So keep reading, read verse 4.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 4. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her children as soon as it was born.
The dragon stood before the woman. Who is this talking about now? Go ahead.
It's saying, so the dragon represents, you know what I'm saying, the 7 heads, which were the nations that you named. The 10 horns, you know what I'm saying, which are even more of the nations which you named. And it's saying that it stood before the woman. We've already established the woman is Israel, right? And she's travailing to bring forth the spirit of Christ.
Right.
So every spirit of Christ that is born through this woman, whether it was the apostles of old, the prophets of old, the priests and prophets, now she's looking to devour and to kill it, you understand, to stop the truth from coming forth into the earth.
That's what she's doing. Go ahead.
So-called white man, sir?
The so-called white man and his army is trying to stop the spirit of Christ from coming into the earth. And that's what this government and these systems are set up to do. Everything that we see in the media, everything that we see in the news is to stop you from becoming who the Lord knows you are.
Right.
And Satan and the white man, which is Satan's counterpart,
Right.
he's trying to stop that spirit from coming into the earth. That's what this is speaking of. Keep reading.
Con, sir. And the dragon, and verse 5, and she brought forth a man child, who was
to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Now, this was a twofold scripture. This was talking about this, and it was talking about during the times of Christ. Watch this. During the time of Christ, what happened right after Christ was born?
King Herod was trying to kill all the firstborn, just as in the time of Moses.
So King Herod was a white man, which was trying to kill Christ, right? Keep read what you just read again. And she brought forth.
Verse 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
And she brought forth this child who was going to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Go ahead.
And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne.
When was he caught up to the Most High in the throne? Go ahead.
When he ascended, sir.
When he left. You understand? Keep reading.
Sorry.
Go drop down to verse 7.
Verse 7.
And there.
Now, this is what we're looking at right now. This is what we are looking at about to happen in America. This is what we're looking at about to happen all over the world. The white man is preparing for war with the angels of the Most High. How is he preparing for war?
France now has a space force.
France has a space force. America has a space force. Russia is building things in space, and China, because they are trying to make war with Christ and the angels. Now, what do Christians know about Christ? How is Christ coming back? He coming back from where? He coming back from the sky. What they say, he's gonna come down out the sky. So at least the Christians can agree that he's coming out of the sky. So when it says that, read this verse.
Verse 7. And there was a war in heaven.
There was a war where?
In heaven.
There was going to be a war in the sky. With who?
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
Now, the dragon is the white man and his military, and they're going to try to fight against Christ and his angels when Christ returns. When Christ comes back and cracks the sky open, the white man's military is going to be right there waiting, because they're trying to fight against Christ and his angels. Now, you can't tell me that's not a bold bastard to try to fight against the Most High's army and think that he's going to win. Go ahead.
First and foremost, the Most High is extremely wise. You understand? I want to make a comment. So there's a documentary on Netflix called Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar is this Edomite. You understand? That's a physicist, and he worked for the U.S. government, and he exposed that since they came out with Area 51, Roswell, you know what I'm saying, New Mexico, and in Nevada, that they've been trying to build tech to basically go against, the angels that we know that's coming, right? So he said that they stole alien tech. You understand? I believe the Most High is so wise that he just dropped them like a little drop. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of a pond, like, oh, you think you got something? You understand? Because they building, quote unquote, their own versions of chariots. This is all documented. Like, this is documented. You understand? So they got their own chariots, so it lines up with what we read in the scripture, and the prophecies are being unfolded before our eyes.
The prophecies are being unfolded in our time.
Right.
We are living to see the time that the prophets, the apostles, that all the men of old that this Bible has been prophesying about since the beginning of time. And the Lord chose to have us in the earth during these times. So we have a great part to play in bringing all of this to pass.
That's right.
In building our nation. Go ahead.
What's so heavy about what you just said? What's so heavy about what you just said? When he's bringing forth the prophecies, while we're living through the prophecies that they prophesied in that term or that time, and people don't believe the truth now, just like they didn't believe the truth then. But they look in the Bible and try to say, well, How come they didn't believe this?
Right.
How come they didn't believe Christ?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at today. It's
Right.
the reason why you don't believe us.
Right.
Just like they didn't believe Christ.
That's exactly right. We just read that in Ezekiel. They don't want to believe because they don't believe. Keep reading.
Con out of one con, sir. Verse 8. And prevailed not.
What is the white man's army going to do?
Prevailed not.
He got lasers and nukes, but what?
Prevail not.
He's going to fight against Christ and the angels, but he's not going to win.
That's right.
He's not going to prevail. Keep reading.
Con out of one con. Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
What does that mean? Is this saying that Satan and the red dragon is sitting in heaven?
Wow.
Any one of the sisters want to try? When it says, read that part again.
Con. And prevailed not, neither was there, THEIR, place found any more in heaven.
What does it mean that there ain't going to be no more place found in heaven for the dragon?
He's going to destroy all their space programs.
He's going to destroy their space program. That's true. Go ahead.
I think he's going to destroy all of them, right? All of the dragons. Like,
He's going to
they won't be here anymore.
Right, but when it says not find a place for them in heaven, what does that mean?
They're gonna be taken out of the high place that they're in. No one will believe their lies anymore, and the white man will go back to being a knuckle dragon caveman.
If a caveman walk up to you and tell you about something, are you going to believe him? Why not? He's not credible. Right. He has nothing, no weight. You know, Bigfoot can't come and tell you about a laser he building in the woods.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't got no technology in the woods. You got trees and grass. So that's how the white man is going to be. He's going to fall from the state of being so high and mighty in your mind. And there's not going to be any more place for him in your mind in heaven, on top. You understand? Heaven is a condition on earth. Heaven is rulership on earth. Heaven is being in the sky. You know what I'm saying? There's rulership, the first dimension, the second dimension, and the fourth dimension.
The fourth dimension.
You understand? All of these different things is what Christians don't understand. They don't understand these mysteries that the Bible have in.
Right.
Keep reading.
Con out of one con, so it's like it. Verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent.
Now, this great dragon was cast out. That old what?
That old serpent.
So who was the old serpent? Now, let me ask you this before I ask you that. Who was the great dragon? We already answered this. The white man. And who? And his armies. So now this great dragon is cast out. Now it's going backwards. He's that old serpent. Meaning what?
That serpent from the garden that tempted Eve.
Was a what?
So-called white man, a devil.
Was a man.
That's right.
That's what he was. Because it's telling you that this dragon is that serpent. So a dragon is what type of snake? A big snake. A serpent is a what? It's a smaller one. So this is his beginning stages. He was a serpent. Go ahead.
Called the devil.
And he was called what?
The devil.
He was called what?
The devil.
The devil and what?
And Satan.
Uh-huh.
Which deceiveth the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Now, the white man's angels are his messengers. Go ahead.
Like when he said he was cast out, he was talking about Satan was cast out, right? And the angels would be the white man.
He's talking about the serpent, the devil, was cast out. Satan is not cast out. That is what Christians think. Christians think that Satan fell from heaven. They call him
The devil.
no, Lucifer. This is where that comes from. That whole Lucifer fell from heaven thing. They read this and then they parallel it with Isaiah 14 when it says that Lucifer fell from heaven. But Isaiah 14 and verse 16 says what? Is this the spirit? Is this the demon?
Man.
Is this the man? So in Isaiah, he's a man. In Revelation, he's a man. So damn it, in Genesis, he's a man. You see what I'm saying? That's what people don't understand because they're not in the UPK.
Right.
All right, keep reading.
Con out of one con. Called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
How did he deceive the world? Through lies.
Right.
Not just Christianity, lies about everything. Lies about where you're from, lies about who you are, lies about what you can eat or what you can have sex with, or who you can marry or who you can't marry. Lies, just on top of lies, on top of lies. He deceived all of the world. Keep reading. What you got?
And if I could, sir, like it's so much meat in this one scripture. You know what I'm saying? Like most people, you know, when they think of the devil and Satan, they think of him as the same person. You know, but like in Greek, like the word diablos, as it's written here, it says a metataph applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of God, may be said to be in such part as a devil and is prone to slander, slanderous acts, and accusing falsely, and is clamorous and a false accuser. So when
Wait a minute. Go to 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Read the next verse.
Con out of one con, sir.
The next verse is going to answer what you just said.
Verse 10. And I heard with a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
Who?
The accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night.
Now, how does the white man accuse us? Go ahead.
Calling us the criminals, the crooks, and the lazy.
Right.
And
Calling
the
us
drug
ham.
dealers. And the drug dealers and the rapists.
Right. Now,
Super predators.
So you got Satan standing on the left-hand side of the Most High saying he does smoke crack. He does steal. But how did the crack get in our community?
Right.
The white man. Why are you stealing? Because of poverty.
Right.
Why are you self-medicating and getting so high on weed? Because of the oppression that the white man puts you on, that he put the drugs in your community. He is the accuser of brethren. He's that little brother that puts something in your face that your mama said you couldn't have and leaves and has a camera set up in the room.
Right. Good night.
And when you do it, he takes the camera out of the room, sends it to mama, and say, look, he was in the cookie jar. You told us not to get none of them Oreos, and he got 4 of them. But he put the cookie jar in the room. Now, the problem is we have to stop being so weak when the cookie jar is in the room.
Right.
We got to look at the cookie jar and say, man, mama said I can't eat none of that, and walk off. What we do is say, mama ain't here. Try to shake it up so it won't look like you ain't taking that out of there. Put it on there. You've been and ate 10 cookies and try to make it look like it was 20 cookies still in there. That is how he's the accuser of brethren, and that is what he has always done. He has always threw the rock, hid his hand, and said it was him. And he would say, let's throw rocks. That's what he would do. And he would act like he'd throw a rock and throw the rock over the house. And you throw the rock and bust a window. He said he broke the window. He did it. That's the white man. Go ahead.
The legal term is called entrapment. That's what he would do.
Right. And that's why the scripture said that he that diggeth a pit will fall in it. You understand? Keep reading.
Con that one con. Verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
What's going to make us overcome? Christ. We have to follow Christ's example, and then we will be able to overcome Satan, the devil, the serpent, the great red dragon, by following the example that Christ left. And what example was that? To be what? Be perfect. That's the example. That is the only way we're going to be able to come this devil. Keep reading.
Con that one con. And by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death.
What does that mean? They love not their lives unto the death. What is that?
They hated living in this place, sir. They hated living in this place so much because of the vast wickedness, you understand, that was going up against and offending the Lord thy God. They hated their life unto death.
Unto death, what does that mean, though? I want you to bring it all the way home. You are correct. But they hated their lives unto death. Unto death. That means they died. Try not to give it to you.
So, I mean, if we giving like examples like the priests and prophets beforehand, that they died, you know what I'm saying?
No. No.
They died trying to keep the law?
No.
Isn't it they love to sin so much even though they died because of it?
No.
Can we read the scripture again?
Read it again. Come on now. Got me one. Got one. Let's go.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death.
They loved not their lives unto death. Go ahead.
Meaning that they forsake their lives for the blood of the Lamb, for Christ, that they were even willing to die keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments.
So how did they die?
According to this,
come on now. Come on, officers. Go ahead.
They died. They killed themselves, right, by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and becoming a new creature. So when Christ came, they wouldn't have to endure the second death.
Thank you. They were born again. They hated their lives unto death, until they said, you know what? I'm not doing this no more. I'm done with this. I killed the old man and become a new man, a new creature.
Right on.
All the way unto death. You understand? Keep reading.
Verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Now, why do we see them messing with our Hispanic brothers the way they messing with them? Because what?
Because he hath a short time.
Why are they killing us so much by the police and we are dying at such a high rate?
Because he hath but a short time.
Because he knows that time is short.
That's right.
That's what he knows. He knows that he don't have long to keep having us under him. So he's turning up the fire. He's like a bill collector. When that case is about to be closed, what do bill collectors do? They call you like crazy because they know they have but a short time. That's what the white man knows and understands. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah, this scripture ties back to what Officer Tazarok was saying, and basically what you're saying, they know they have a short time left in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20.
11,
Woe
12,
unto them that call evil good and good evil, and put darkness for light and light for darkness. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's a prophecy of what would happen in our day.
Right.
That's exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
To show that we're near the end, and woe to you, I'm getting ready to destroy you.
Woe to you, because you are walking around here saying that it's okay to be homosexual. So that's, you call evil good and good evil. You say that it's okay to do the things that you do. Read Revelations 11 and 14.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past.
What's the second woe? Go ahead.
World War II.
That is the Second World War. The Second World War has passed. And what?
The second woe is past. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
What does that mean?
The third world war is about to approach.
That's what it's talking about. Keep reading.
That'll one come. Verse 15. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, the kingdoms of this world.
The kingdoms of which world?
The kingdoms of this world
Uh-huh.
are become the kingdoms of our Lord and his Christ.
What does that mean? The kingdoms of this world is going to become the kingdom of our Lord and his Christ.
So the kingdom of that are on the earth, right, will be ruled again by the Most High Christ.
That's right. The kingdoms of this world. China is going to be ruled by Christ. Russia and Germany and the USA and all of Switzerland and all of these lands and places, they're going to be ruled by Christ. There's going to be one king of the earth.
Right.
Keep reading.
Count that one come. And he shall reign forever and ever.
How long?
Forever and ever.
Read verse 18.
Verse 18. And the nations were angry.
Who?
And the nations were angry.
I thought all of us going to heaven together.
And the nations were angry.
These nations, when they see a black man ruling the planet Earth, they're going to be angry. Read.
And thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged,
Right.
and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants.
To who?
Unto thy servants.
Who is your servant?
The prophets.
Who?
The prophets.
Read.
And to the saints. And them that fear thy name.
Right.
Small and great. And shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth.
Now, who destroyed the earth? Give me a precept. Now, you should be able to give me an easy precept for this.
Can I paraphrase it or I gotta pull it?
I want to pull it. It said, and to those that destroy the earth. I need two precepts. Very common precepts. Pull them all the time. Go ahead.
Trying to find it. Okay. One in Isaiah
Let me hear it.
14 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms?
Read.
Oh, so like that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof.
That's what he did. Made the world a wilderness. Now, give me this, the second one.
I think I got it.
What is it? Just tell it to me.
Isaiah 11.
It's Job 9 and 24.
Right.
Come on now. What does Job 9 and 24 say?
Why not? Somebody of the earth to give his hand to the wicked.
That's what we're talking about, ain't it?
That's right.
Ain't that what we're talking about? What did you just read?
Time will come, like you, sir.
That would have been the first one to go to. What you pulled should have been the second precept. The first precept should have been Job 9:24 because of the verbiage.
Revelations chapter 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is
Just read that part, the last part.
Con, and should destroy them which destroy the earth.
Who destroyed the earth? The earth was given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not him, then who? Right. Then you go to Isaiah, who made the earth a wilderness. You know what I'm saying? That just cut all of that. Just to prove to you that this is talking about a man. The Bible is talking about people all the way through. Right. It don't go from David to Joseph to John, and then they start talking about a serpent and a dragon and a beast. Right. No, it's talking about people all the way through. That's what it's talking about. You're not out here fighting against dragons. You're fighting against the white man. Right. You're not being chased by beasts. The police are not beasts. They people. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't Jurassic Park. That's what people try to make the Bible like it's Jurassic Park, like we being chased by a beast and all that type of stuff. No, we ain't being chased by no beast. We out here being killed by a beast. By a beast, a heartless beast that has no regard for the old or the young. The white man. Go ahead.
Now, I do have a question. So I know all these are parables and analogies, right? Mm-hmm. So I also know in the book of Revelation that it said that the Lord will torment those that are left upon the face of the earth. And like the figure of their torment was something that had the body and face of a man, but the stinger of a scorpion. What does that represent?
Pull me the scripture.
Come, sir.
And while you pulling the scripture, somebody else give me Revelation 13:7.
You want that right now?
Yes, I do.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Who is that? Who's making war with blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and also has power over all the other nations on the earth?
The white man.
The white man. There's no beast, no dragon, no other group of people on this earth that is doing that except for the nation of Edom.
Right.
Keep reading.
Verse 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him.
Everybody worships the white man. Through Christianity, through Egyptology, through being a Muslim. Go ahead.
Salakia. I saw Vietnamese Baptist Church.
Yes. We got one. It's one in Austin.
I saw Ethiopian Baptist Church.
Right. I saw him in Austin. One, it's a Chinese Baptist church. An Arab. I seen an Arab Baptist church.
Nice.
I ain't never knew that the Arabs worship Jesus.
I thought Christianity was everybody. I bet their praise and worship was the bomb. Well, if I could though, Officer Gobble just tagged me in a post recently. I had a conversation with a Christian that says the reason why Jesus appears white is because it's white people. They want their Messiah to look like them. Right. He was like, if you go to Africa, you might see an African Christ. You go to Asia, you might see an Asian Christ. Well, I was just tagged in a post. Those were not Chinese Jesuses. White Jesus is over there. Those Chinese Christians believe in white Jesus.
Why in Rio de Janeiro is it a big pale white Christ going like
right.
that? Why he don't got an afro?
Because the white man is the devil.
Damn right.
That's right. Go ahead.
I was going to bring up a point over there off the airport and not far from Gaston, over there off the Beltway. They have a universal where they got a Christian church, they got a Muslim mosque, and they got a Hindu little thing that they're building, that they've been building for the past 20 years over there, right there off the airport in the Beltway, or Gaston in the Beltway. Well, I know what I'm talking about. Right. They got them all in the same complex. They got the same fence around them all.
One stop shop.
Right, it's the universal, something. I don't even know it. Right, the mega heathen church.
That's what our people are living under. We're living under this beast that is devouring our people and devouring the knowledge of the Lord. Keep reading. Where you stop at? Verse 8. Keep reading.
Whose names are not written in the book of life.
Who are the people that they gonna hurt?
Oh, Salaki, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
That's what's gonna happen. If your name is not written in the book of life, you bound to drown.
Right.
You're gonna get the sword, and you're gonna be able to be touched. Matter of fact, if you go up to verse 4, read verse 4.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 4. And they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast.
Now they're worshiping the dragon which gave power to the beast. If we start from the top of this, let's go ahead and start from the top so we can break it down. Because I know y'all gonna need this. Y'all got the breakdown for Revelation 13? You got it? Okay, well let's see. Well, he'll say he's super. Let's see. Start from verse 1.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
So who was that?
Like if I may, that's the so-called white man. Those 10 horns are those 10 nations that already rose, and then those horns are the nations that rose from it, and then above his head will be the blasphemy, meaning all the lies that beast, that the so-called white man has brought.
Okay, that's cool. Keep reading.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Now, what is that talking about?
That's like if I may, that's talking about those that's giving a description to the nations that ruled the earth.
So who was the nation that was like a leopard?
That was Alexander, because he wore a leopard garment around his, and they're the Greeks.
Okay. Right on. Who was the bear?
The bear was the Medes, the Persians and
the Medes. Who was the lion?
The lion was is it the Romans?
The lion was the Babylonians. That's who the lion was. The lion, it was a lion body with wings and the head of a man. You understand? Okay.
The griffin.
The griffin, exactly. Keep reading. And the dragon did what?
Gave him his power.
Who was the dragon?
The white man.
The white man today. And he gave them his power and his seat of authority. Keep reading.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Keep reading.
And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Who's able to give him love?
Make war with him.
You see, it's still talking about war. They're looking at these people and these nations and saying, these nations' armies cannot be defeated. Who can fight against the white man's army and defeat them? That's what everybody look at America like right now. They're afraid of them. They're a superpower. They try to act like they're about that action, but ain't nobody pressing the button.
Right.
Keep reading.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things.
Know what those things
and blasphemy. And power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months.
For a short time. Keep reading.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven.
Okay, we already read 7 and 8. Now drop down to 11.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 11.
So now that what we just read was talking about past history.
Right.
I was talking about Alexander and Nebuchadnezzar and the Persians and the Medes and all of that, right? Now we're gonna drop down, verse 9 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, meaning this is when we, in between that time, we went into captivity. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Okay.
From the Greeks to after that, the Greeks and the Romans and all that, after that, we went into captivity. So the people that led us into captivity shall go into captivity. Now read what's after that, verse 11.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
Now this is a new beast coming up.
And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
This is America. Speaking as a dragon. But he looked like a lamb. You know why he looked like a lamb? Because he talks about peace. He talks about the land of the free. Right. He talks about everybody can come here and be loving together. We're not gonna cut your heads off in the middle of the street if you sleep with another man's wife. We're not gonna stone you. You can come over here and we just gonna it's equal rights for everybody over here. He looks like a lamb, but he's a beast worse than all the rest. Keep reading.
And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him.
And he's doing all of the things of the empires before him. That's why America is Babylon the Great. Because we do everything in America that they did in Babylon, in the Persians and the Medes, in Greece, in Rome, in Egypt, in every place before this place. This is the melting pot of all lies and civilizations from all over the earth. Keep reading.
And causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast.
Worship who?
The first beast.
Who does they call you to worship? Who's the first beast?
I'm not talking about the serpent.
But it's who do you worship in America? We just got to talk about it. Right. The white man. You understand? They got a picture of the white man and they got you worshiping him.
Right.
Keep reading.
Whose deadly wound was healed.
Keep reading.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
How does fire come down from heaven in the sight of men?
The nuclear bombs.
Bombs. And that's what everybody's seen. Everybody saw how America dropped bombs on people, and everybody started to respect them for that. Keep reading.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth.
And he deceived them and made everybody think that he was the mess, the shit.
By the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Because everybody saw his military might, everybody was deceived to think that they were really something that they are not. So people started to respect them.
I mean, and that's what the world really respects. Ability to conquer your stuff.
Exactly.
So that's why America is respected, and they allow military bases, they allow them to set up army bases in every continent and country except China and Russia.
And that's why everybody else has warfare mind except us.
Right.
Everybody else can see that except us because we slaves.
All right.
Keep reading.
Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast.
Make an image to who?
The beast.
Caesar Borgia. You got an image to the white man, the beast. Now you go in every church in the black community, the Chinese community, the African community, and the Asian community, and every community, you see white Jesus in there. Because he made an image to the beast. Keep reading.
Which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Read.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
How did this happen?
Through Christianity?
Christianity. And how did they cause people to die?
Convert or die?
Which was called?
You got the Reconquista Spanish Inquisition,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had the Christian Crusades.
The Christian Crusades. You understand? That's how they made it live or die. Be a Christian or get the sword. That's how they caused the beast to get a voice. The voice of the beast was Christianity. God love everybody. You gotta be a slave or die. You know, submit or die. That was the voice of Christianity, the voice of the beast. Keep reading.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to give to Slack, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
So when in history have we ever heard about a great call that everybody got to come get a mark in their hand and their forehead?
The Holocaust?
No. When have we ever been called down to the Social Security office so we can go get chipped up? Never. So that means that this mark that's in your hand and in your forehead is not a chip.
Right.
That's what it means.
It's
So
like the mark of the Lord.
What is this mark that now, since we're reading it in context, we understand that the philosophy of the beast.
Right.
I did just give it away. Like, when we just learned that the beast had a philosophy. Damn, man.
You teach, sir?
Man, I did not want to give it away. You know what I'm saying? The beast had trying to think of another word. How did they give life into the beast? Through Christianity,
right,
which Christianity is a philosophy.
Right.
So the only way that you could get the mark of the beast is if you were living out the philosophy of the beast, which was you accepted the thoughts that the beast had, the way that they said to live. Eating pork is okay because the beast said it was okay. So that's the mark of the beast. That's the mark of the white man, which is the devil the Bible speaks of.
Right.
It's all full circle. So if that's the mark of the beast, then what's the mark of the Lord?
Am I done with this one?
What verse you stopped at? 15?
Uh,
No, you started at 16. Yeah, we done with that. That's cool. What's the mark of the Lord?
It's
Ezekiel chapter 9.
Let's get it.
there you go.
Well, we get it first. Read it.
I got something else.
What you got?
I got Deuteronomy 6 and 7 through 8.
Start at 6.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 6. And these words which I command thee this day.
These what?
These words
Mm-hmm.
which I command thee this day
Mm-hmm.
shall be in thine heart.
Shall be in your heart. Read.
And thou shalt teach them diligently.
Y'all should do what diligently?
Teach them.
No, y'all should imprint them.
Teach them.
Tattoo them.
Teach them.
Read.
Diligently unto thy children.
Right.
And shall talk of them which thou sittest in thine house.
Read.
And when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes.
You should do this. You should teach your children this, and they should do it with their hands, and you should put this in their mind. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, Go throughout the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon their foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that are done in the midst thereof.
You know what the mark of the Lord is? It's the people that got the zeal of the Lord.
Right.
They got the same mindset that the Lord has. The people that say, if you are living this life, you are wrong. Just like the mark of the beast is the people that say, if you are living this life, you are right. Go ahead.
Salakia, to clarify, it would be more than just the zeal, right? Because we know the scripture in Hosea say that they had the zeal, just not according to knowledge.
So you got to have the zeal and the knowledge. You have to be living it. No, you have to have the understanding of it and doing it. Yeah, you have to do it. Because with the mark of the beast, you don't just think homosexuality is okay. You are homosexual.
Right.
You don't just think Christmas is okay. You celebrate it.
Right.
So with the mark of the Lord, you can't just say we got to keep the commandments. You have to keep the commandments.
Right.
Go ahead.
Like if I may, and what our people don't understand due to the ignorance of Christianity, having the Spirit of the Lord calls men to kill other men that were not keeping the commandments, that rather ate pork because the Greeks told them to.
Right.
And Stephen, it said that he was filled with the Spirit of the Lord, and he caused the people to gnash their teeth at him and put their hands over their head, over their ears, because they couldn't keep hearing Stephen cutting them about how wicked they were.
Right.
That's the Spirit of the Lord, son.
Right. And the Spirit of the Lord is in the earth, in the UPK right now.
Right.
Give me Daniel 2:44. Malak, why don't answer this question because I taught you about this earlier this week.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 44. And in the days of these kings.
In the days of which kings?
Of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
Now, we are living in the times of those kings right now. So in the days of these kings, when is that?
Like you, sir. Today.
It's today.
I
just gave you the answer.
But so I guess, for them to know like which kings it were, this if I'm not mistaken, this is Daniel breaking down the vision of the statue, portion made of clay, portion made of stone, portion made of iron, and stuff like that. So for them to know what kings or kingdoms it is, you have to break down the vision.
Well, let me just tell you, because we don't have all day to go into this Daniel's vision. Oh, Daniel's vision was Daniel's vision was talking about the Nebuchadnezzar. Salakia. Daniel's vision was talking about Nebuchadnezzar, the Persian and the Mede.
Yes, sir.
The Grecians.
Yes, sir.
And the Romans.
That's right.
So in the days of these kings, what does scripture say after that?
Verse 44, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
Shall the God of heaven do what?
Set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed.
Question is, when is the kingdom of heaven going to be set up? Azariah? Get that brother a hand. The kingdom of heaven is being set up right now. Keep reading.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So when it says the kingdom of heaven is being set up right now, is that because like what Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is inside of you, it's inside of me, it's inside of this brother right here?
Kingdom of heaven is neither there or over there. Ain't no place of, you ain't gonna look and find the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom is within us. We're setting it up right now because we're bringing together. Go ahead.
Through the sanctuary that was provided. I think that was Ezekiel when he said he's gonna set up a sanctuary in the mix of them and he's gonna dwell there. And like you said, with all of us having the kingdom within us, that's why it's being built now.
The kingdom is being set up right now. As we're in captivity, we are putting the kingdom together brick by brick with each brother and sister that comes into the school and learns this truth.
And if I may, the first thing to establish when establishing a nation is a government. And we have that right now.
That's what we are establishing in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge.
Or the kingdom is at hand.
That's the second precept I was going to pull. Good night. All right, let me finish. Wait, you start at 44?
I wouldn't finish reading.
Okay, go ahead.
And shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people.
No, the kingdom is for all people.
The kingdom shall not be left to other people.
That means the only people that's going to be in rulership in the kingdom is who? Israel.
That's right.
That's what the Bible teaches.
Right.
Now, the pastor can say what he want to say, but the kingdom ain't going to be left to other people.
Right.
Keep reading.
But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms.
We're going to break all these kingdoms into pieces. We're going to break down America. We're going to break down the Dominican Republic. We've broken down Guatemala. You seen the money on the streets? They money don't mean nothing no more. I seen a dude that made a purse out of the money.
Right.
It was just $1,000 bills, and he made wallets out of it and purses and all, because we are breaking down these kingdoms with the truth. Keep reading.
Con out of one con. And it shall stand forever.
How long?
Forever.
Our kingdom is going to be here forever. What you got?
So like if I may, you know that the kingdom of Christ is in here because all the right people are in rulership, because every culture is influenced here. You see what I'm saying? When the scriptures say Christ he's going to rule with a rod of iron, that means these Moabites, they won't be able to eat frogs.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The East Indians, you're going to have to take a bath. You're going to have to be clean. You see what I'm saying? So all these practices of all these heathen cultures are here because the right people aren't in rulership, and the real king of the King of Kings is not here ruling with a rod of iron.
Let me get Daniel 7 and start at verse 10.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened.
What books were open? This is talking about before the Most High. So what books is open before him? The book of life. Now, what's about to happen when the book of life get cracked open?
Get them crowns out.
Which is called Judgment Day. Keep reading.
Verse 11. I beheld, then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain.
What was slain?
The beast was slain.
Who's the beast? The white man. And he's going to be what?
Slain.
Keep reading.
And his body destroyed.
Read.
And given to the burning flame.
Who's going to get the burning flame? The white man and his army.
Right.
They're going to try to fight against Christ and the angels, and they are going to get blazed on, literally.
Right.
Keep reading.
Verse 12. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away.
As concerning the rest of these other beasts, these other nations, they're going to have their dominion taken away. Keep reading.
Yet their lives were prolonged for a season.
Why is their lives being prolonged for a season?
Right. Because it was prophesied that the white man, that's the only nation that's going to be utterly destroyed. Everybody else is going into slavery.
everybody. We need slaves. That's why they're gonna be prolonged, because we need some people to build up our kingdom after we tear down theirs.
Right.
Keep reading.
Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time.
Read.
Verse 13. I saw in the night visions and beheld one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought forth him near before
Who
him.
was one like unto the Son of Man that came with clouds? Who was the likened unto the Son of Man, and what are the clouds?
Likened unto the Son of Man would be Christ.
Christ.
And the clouds would be the heavenly host. The chariots?
The chariots. That's what the chariot. Christ is coming with what? We coming back with what?
A military.
With the chariots, right? With the army of the Lord. So this is what it's talking about. Keep reading.
Verse 14. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him.
Serve who?
Serve him.
Read.
His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
That's what we are fighting for. We fighting for something that'll never be destroyed. Now, I don't care how great these beasts look right now.
Right.
We have always been under them and we ain't never been deeper than them.
Right.
We are the smallest, youngest nation on the earth. So our numbers ain't never been our strength.
Right.
Our power has always been our strength.
That's right.
You understand? The Lord has always been our strength. The Lord helps us fight our battle. Two of us could whoop the American army with the Lord on our side.
Right.
You understand? That's what can happen with the Lord. That's what they know. Give me verse. Let me see if I want to go some more to that. Go to verse 17.
Okay. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 17. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall rise out of the earth.
That's telling you who it is. These kings that's going to rise up. Keep reading.
Verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom.
All the people going to take the kingdom.
The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
You see how many evers that was?
Right.
Forever and ever and ever. Meaning we will never lose rulership. So with the white man knowing that, he's trying to get all the last out of you that he can get.
Right.
Stop giving him the last. Stop giving him that extra day out of you. Don't give him no more days. Why don't you start being a part of the setting up of the kingdom? Why don't you start building something that will never be destroyed? That's what we in here to do. We in here to give our lives to die to our old self and to become someone new so that what we can have will be forever and ever and ever. Keep reading.
Verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the four beasts, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass.
This is talking about the Roman army. This is talking about the times that we're living in now. Drop down to 22.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High.
The saints of everybody.
The saints of the Most High.
Read.
And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom.
That's what the Bible is about. The Bible is about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans possessing the world. And you trying to give that to everybody.
Good night.
You try. How many times have we heard the same thing? Take the land, possess the land, possess the kingdom. That's what this is about. The Bible is about warfare. That's going to happen through war. The war we fighting right now is drugs.
Right.
The war we fighting right now is crime, lying, stealing. You know what I'm saying? Hurting your brother. After that, After we conquer this war, the next war we're gonna be having is taking the kingdom back.
Good night.
Literally. That's what time we are at the door. And the beast is about to be slain. All of the beasts. They're gonna get their crowns taken. Our king gonna have a crown, and he gonna rule the earth, and we gonna rule under him. Now, what's wrong with that? Somebody tell me the first thing that you hear wrong with that. Please.
It ain't today.
Well, that's a good point. It ain't today. That's what I hear wrong with it. It ain't happening now.
Right.
Keep reading.
Count on, verse 23. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth.
I don't need that part. Give me Salaki. I meant to say 26.
Count on, it's the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 26. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it until the end.
This is what we're going to do to these other nations and to the beast. We're going to take away his kingdom and his dominion and destroy it until there's not a brick left. There ain't gonna be you ain't gonna be able to recognize a brick from the White House when we get through with it. When Christ returns.
That we built.
Right. Keep reading.
Verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High.
To who?
Given to the people of the saints of the Most High,
Read.
Whose malakwat is an everlasting malakwat,
Okay.
and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
You hear that? That's the Bible right there. That's what we're looking for.
Right.
We are looking for the malakwat to never end.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
No pun intended. You understand? With that, go ahead.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Salaki, it was over a scripture that you brought out. Revelation 11 and 18, it says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name. So my question is, because it's given like 3 different distinctions. So is that just like another way of saying the same thing, or is that 3 different
Read them
things?
3 different things again.
It was the servants, the prophets.
The prophets, okay. Who are the prophets going to be in the kingdom?
Us.
Which we're going to be?
Me.
What's the number?
The 144.
144, okay.
And to the saints.
Which would be?
All of Israel.
The women and children and the old and the people that make it. And what else?
And this the part of, and them that fear thy name.
And those 1/3 that make it. Those people, remember the reward of the prophets. No, not that scripture. If you help a prophet,
you get a proper reward.
You receive a proper reward. Those people.
So those are the ones that fear thy name.
Those that keep the commandments, those that fear the work of the Lord, respect the work of the Lord, help the men of the Lord, help the prophets.
Okay.
You understand? That's all that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Anybody got any more questions? With that, pass class over. Priest and officer, a run.
The I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There's another 6 months.
I didn't see the YouTube. We got a question on YouTube. It said, can I get some precepts against birthdays? Somebody, let me see where y'all at, officers. Where your birthday precepts at? Somebody asked for precepts against birthdays.
Jeremiah 20:14.
Let me hear. Go ahead. Whenever you get it, just start reading. I'll tell you if it's a con or a la.
The book of Genesis, chapter 40, verse 20.
Read.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 40, verse 20. And it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday,
Okay.
that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the heads of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants.
Mm-hmm.
You read?
Is that it?
I got one.
That's good. I mean, that lets you know that heathens celebrated his birthday. Okay, give me another one.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 20, verse 13. Cursed be the day wherein I was born. Let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed.
No, that's not a birthday precept. That is a day that a man is having a bad day, and he said, "I wish I was never born." That's not a birthday precept, though. Go ahead.
I got one, but it would have to go with some context. But
Yeah.
the Proverbs 3:31, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways.
That's a perfect precept because that is a way of a heathen. Heathen, like he just brought up, birthdays are heathen customs. If you read the Satanic Bible tells you that is the most satanic day of the year because you are celebrating yourself as a god. You're worshiping yourself as a god. That's why it's your day. That's why people bring you a gift, bring you all the gifts. You have a full ritual when they sing to you and you blow out the candles. That is a ritual. That is not Israelite custom. You cannot find no scripture in the Bible where a man of Israel celebrated his birthday. Go ahead.
I got two precepts.
Let me see.
One in Matthew chapter 14, verse 6, and the other is Mark chapter 6, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew chapter 14, verse 6. But Herod's birthday was kept. The daughter of Herodias danced before him and pleased Herod. Mark chapter 6,
That's
verse
cool
21.
to show you that heathens celebrated their birthdays. Go ahead.
This is the account in Mark chapter 6, verse 21. And
somebody said Job chapter 10. I don't have a verse. Give me a verse, sis. Go ahead.
Job 3:1.
Mark chapter 6, verse 21.
Job 3:1. I mean, I got another one.
Okay, go ahead.
Mark chapter 6, verse 21. And when a convenient day was come, that Herod on his birthday made a supper to his lords, high captains, and chief estates of Galilee.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's a good one.
And Salakia, to add context, on both of those, on all three of those accounts, somebody was beheaded. Somebody died.
Don't sweat. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 7:1.
That's
read it. Let me hear it.
A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
That's not a birthday scripture. That's saying it's better to have a good name than, like, when you die, it's better to be remembered for your good name than, what's the second part of it?
Better than the day of a death than the day of one's birth.
Right. So, we are backwards. When children come in the earth, what do? We celebrate. When we should be what? Crying. You know why we should be crying?
Because the conditions of the child are gonna be born.
Let's think about it like this. Let's say you were in hell, like what you thought hell was before you came into the truth. Let's say you were in a burning place, right? And there were demons in the burning place with horns and pitchforks poking you day and night, because that's what you thought hell was before you came into the truth, right? Okay. And let's say you were in that place and you had a baby. How would you feel about that? Would you be happy? You would know if that baby would make it to live to see another day. That's how you should feel here. You should, when you bring your child into this place, you should be like, oh my God, Lord, protect my child. You know what I mean? Because oh my good, I got to make sure that we righteous over here so we can be protected. Because if we not, we out of there. When a child dies, you should be like, he's not going to have to worry about this place anymore. He's not going to have to worry about the things that I have to worry about still being here. You know what I mean? That's how it should be.
The scripture the person was talking about in Job chapter 10, verse 18.
Okay, pull it. Go ahead.
What scripture did you say in Jeremiah?
Jeremiah 20 and 14.
Okay. And what you were saying about the children being born, I had a comment on that. If anybody ever watched The Walking Dead, it's like when someone gets pregnant,
right?
It's like, damn,
right?
Because you got to have a baby for one that's gonna be crying. The zombies are attracted to the noise. You might have to just pick up and run. Then you got an infant with you. And then this whole time, this person is growing up. At any given time, it can just be big. It can just die, or you have to give your life for it.
Right. And that's exactly how we should see it today, where we're living, because we're living amongst the walking dead.
Right.
Right now, we don't know that we are in hell. You waiting to die to go to hell when you here. This is it. This is hell. Go ahead.
I look at these scriptures as a way that, as the way our attitude should be. Whereas the world, they view the birthdays as everything, but all these scriptures point to an attitude where it's not celebrating the birth.
We don't care about that. We're figurative. We're a roundabout people. We're not direct with things. You know what I mean? If I say I'm gonna be there around 9, the key word was around.
Right.
So that means I can show up early, or I can show up at about 10:30 or almost 11. You know, 9-ish. You know what I mean? That's us. We're not today at 2:30. You know what I mean? That's not us. That's white people. You know what I mean? That's not, that's why you don't see dates in the Bible. Because it was, this is how you know when the time period was. It was when this person was in rulership. This person was a king. So now you can go back in the white man's history and find out the dates that he got for when Herod was the king, and then you can say, okay, it was at this time. But we didn't care about dates and times and all that. We just cared that it happened. That's it. Go ahead.
This go along with celebrating feast days, aka birthdays too, like even holidays. Be Amos 5 and 21.
Ready?
I despise your feast days.
Is it a feast day? Is birthdays a feast day of the Lord? Is it a holy day? Most definitely it can go into it.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
What is that? Keep reading. Is there some more to that? Is it somebody singing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Don't sweat.
Verse 22. Thou ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings. I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offering of your fat beasts.
Is this somebody's song? Go ahead.
Verse 23. Take thou away from take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melodies of thy vows.
You hear that? I don't want to hear your song. I don't want your burnt offering, your candles blowing. I don't want none of it, because that ain't of me. That is the heathens. That's the common people used to do that type of stuff. Go ahead.
Verse 24 says, but let judgment run down as water and righteousness as a mighty streams.
When you do celebrate those things, judgment come down on you. That's why a lot of people birthday parties, people die, people get shot. Something bad happens on feast days of the white man. When it's the 4th of July and you out there popping firecrackers, somebody gonna blow their hand off. Somebody gonna shoot the gun in the air, the bullet gonna come down, and somebody's baby gonna die. That's how it happens. You know what I mean? Because these feast days are not days the Lord wants you to celebrate or follow, or none of the customs of the heathen. We are holy people. We separate. We don't do what everybody else do. While everybody singing and dancing and doing all that, we warriors, man. We don't give a damn about none of that. You know what I mean? Hey, we princes and princesses and kings. That's it. We live a royal life. Go ahead.
And it got so bad now. We got people, you know, Judites. We are Judites,
right?
For sure. So when we celebrate these pagan holidays like the 4th of July, we don't do it just like how white people do it. We want to go ahead and be extravagant with it, but while we out there, then we want to play around with it. We had people lighting fireworks, and then you know how they have it go up to a certain height, you know, just a little the ground fireworks. I seen a person run and try to jump over it and end up being set on fire.
All time Christ.
Right.
Even if you stop playing because it ain't a game out here.
Right.
You understand? Let me see if did that answer the question. Or what was the scripture you had in Job? Job 10 and what? 18 is what you said?
Yes, sir.
Man, read that for me and see if that's a good one.
This is a scripture the person pulled online. This is Job chapter 10, verse 18. Wherefore then hast thou brought me forth out of the womb? Oh, that I had given up the ghost, and no eye had seen. I should have been as though I had not been. I should have been carried from the womb to the grave.
Yeah, that's not a birthday scripture. That's a scripture about I wish I was never born.
Right.
Life is so hard. I wish I would have never came out the womb. Why am I here? And everybody had days like that.
Right.
That's what Job was going through. Job lost his family. He lost all his goods. He lost everything he worked for.
I.S.U.P.K security announcement. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West on 25th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There's another 6 months which a brother and sister will court each other. After 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is the commandments, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8 through 10, means a tenth in Hebrew, by Asherah. 10% of any penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department. Priest fund, a free will offering, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. The upcoming holy convocation is the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. First day of the 7th month, Saturday, September 28th, 2019. Read Leviticus 23:24 through 25. If any brother wants to become a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black. Boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarves. And those are the announcements.
With that, imagine. You said Hapanya Kwadam Sar, mean face the east. I said the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and in English. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Ayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakaka. Taba'ah. Ratazayaka. Ayah. Asha. Ma'arataza. Kawa. Ayah. Hashemayim. Natananawa. Lakam. Ko. Wayam. Wasalat. Kabawafinawa. Kasalatnawa. Kabawafinawa. Wala'a. Ayanawa. Manashai 1. Abal. Ashaynawa. Mayan. Ra. Wa. Laka. Hamalakwa. Waha Tapa Ara. La'awalamyam. Aman.
In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power and the glory, forever. So be it.
Sorry. Courtesy salute to the brothers and the sisters, men of Israel. Madam Shabbat, Majid, Barak,
Yahweh Yahushua
Yazmatah, Sorry. Courtesy salute to the sisters, Madam Shabbat, Majid, Barak, Yazmatah, dismissed.
The water.
This time, we got it.